All right, fellas, welcome back. We're a new wave of Power Play Puck, Season 2, Episode 1. Ethan and I are back. Same crew as before with a little addition of Jacob Hookman-Vasa. How about you introduce yourself for the fans?
All right, guys. I'm excited to be joining Power Play Puck, Season 2, new restart. Little background on me. I'm from Bethesda, Maryland. Played hockey.
Bethesda.
Shout out Bethesda. I played hockey for Team Maryland, Florida Lions. Went to boarding school to play hockey. Shout out Loomis Chafee. And I decided not to go to juniors and play there, so I'm going to Miami next year. But I want to stay in the hockey world and join this good podcast, get a lot of good interviews.
Potential Acha star.
Potential
Are you playing club hockey?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question.
Or are you joining a frat?
No, I don't know if I'm gonna play club hockey. I'm still deciding, but we'll see how that goes. I think this podcast is gonna be really good. We're gonna get a lot of interesting and really good hockey players on here. Chop it up, see how everything's going. Ethan, you got anything?
No, I'm just really excited. New wave of Power Play Puck should be way better than before. Get some good guests on, have some returning guests, and yeah, it should be a good time.
And for our first interview on this new Power Play Puck, I would like to introduce a close friend of mine, one of my closest friends, another Bethesda, Maryland native, current Sioux Falls player, Micah Berger.
Yeah, long time coming, fellas.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I think it's 3 or 4 years in the making here, so
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right, so to start things off, just give you guys a good idea of what we're gonna do. We're just gonna, have a good conversation with Micah, talk about his upbringing and his upbringing as a hockey player, his progression throughout the past 10 years or so playing hockey, and that's what we're gonna do.
So let's deep to the Blue Devils days.
Obviously.
Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. The Rob Keegan 2 hard laps grind.
2 hard laps.
All right, so what you're starting out at Sioux Falls this coming year. How's that looking right now?
Yeah, I think I'm excited. I started there last year. It just didn't work out for both sides, but going back, we should have a good squad. I think we're gonna be pretty young, but we got some studs coming in and should be good. Got an awesome billet family set up, so I'm really excited.
What's it like living in South Dakota?
It sucks.
Does it really?
So
What do you mean, dude?
I heard first off, what do you expect?
I heard the nightlife say
There's some.
It's not a
it
bad
could be
spot.
cool. It could be
Sioux
cool.
Falls is 130,000 people. It's a pretty big town compared to some of the other ones. But you go and it's stews and mashed potatoes and it's a culture shock for sure. You're eating heavy food and you can see for 50 miles.
No taste of Bethesda.
It's different. It's different, but you're if you're with a good group of guys, it doesn't really matter where you are.
Sioux Falls is definitely a big change from growing up in Bethesda, Maryland. So you grew up here in Bethesda, off Old Georgetown Road. Shout out Old Georgetown. Where did you start playing hockey? How'd you get into it?
My dad grew up in Toronto, so he was never great because he moved there when he was 12. So late start, so he's living out his hockey dreams to his kids. Montgomery Blue Devils, then a couple years at Team Maryland, and then hopped around a little bit. But yeah, those years at Montgomery were a good time. We had some pretty solid Team Maryland teams.
Yeah, we were talking to Spice about it.
Yeah, we were
earlier.
good.
If the 04 and 03 group had stuck together,
Oh yeah. You look at the 04s
Some
now.
of the 2s were insane too. That all
they
left
went to
ISS.
ISS.
I'm telling you, you look at the 04s now, it's the best age group that's ever come out of here.
Yeah.
They've got to be 10 D1 guys.
So Micah and I actually met when we were probably 4 or 5 years old. We were playing Montgomery Blue Devils, Rockville Ice Rink. It wasn't even travel yet. We were playing on Adams, which is the youngest it gets.
I think I played Adams.
Yeah,
It's half ice.
We became really good friends through that. We were on the same team, and then we made. Fast forward a couple years, we made our Mite AA team, which was there was no AAA at that age.
There's no AAA till Pee Wees in Maryland.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we played Mike AA for Montgomery Blue Devils. Our coach was Rob Keegan, still one of the best coaches that I
Great
ever
guy.
had.
Yeah, great guy.
And we had I think 11 guys on the team. We played mostly AAA teams.
We were I think we were 11th in the country.
Yeah.
Like, we were good.
We were really, really good.
We were really good.
And yeah, we had that Mike AA year. We ended up winning Silver Sticks.
I wasn't there.
You were. You missed
I wasn't
it.
even there.
You missed it.
It was my older brother's bar mitzvah the same weekend.
That's insane.
So they were playing with 9 skaters, and we still.
Yeah,
I mean,
mean,
it was like the AA division.
Which just goes to show
still
we didn't really even need them. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was not a great player.
That's
back
right.
then. Like,
That's right. You
I was bad.
you really picked it up.
No,
you
I
really
was
picked it
bad.
up. No, but what do you think about Montgomery Blue Devils, and like, did that like kickstart your passion for hockey, or was it later?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember, but I think it was like, I think it's all about like having other good guys on your team. Like, you look at the 04s especially, like, we all played together until we were 14, and like, we were good. So you're playing top 10 teams in the country, and there's a big difference if you're top 20 versus top 30 or 40th. Like, we were playing against, really good teams and in practice every day, and I think that's why like the age group has been so successful in Maryland. But yeah, it definitely started. I mean, we were all, buddies playing together since we were 10, 12 years old, basically.
Yeah. And so after, the first few years of Montgomery, going into our first years at Team Maryland, it was like Pee Wee Minor was our first year on TM. What was your deal with hockey then? Like, were you still like as passionate about it as you were before?
Well, I think I like really grinded that summer before Pee Wee Minor, and like I really took a leap that year. Like, I remember I was not a good squirt player, and then like Pee Wees I started scoring a lot, and then second year Pee Wee, shout out Cam O'Neill, me and him started playing together on the same line.
And David Van Iderson.
Shout out DVI. Dude, that guy
Prince.
can dig a puck out of a corner. Like, he will take a beating too.
And he never gets injured.
Is he going back to Mercer?
Yeah.
Dude, he was taking dude, me and Cam aren't going F1. Like, there's no way. Like, it's U13 hockey where it's our 5th game in 3 days. Like, we're not going F1.
Dude, shout out David. That guy, he would get absolutely beat up. he would. We also made fun of him for tripping over the blue line when no one touched him. But dude, he was like in the last.
Dude, he had some good stats. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
like those years.
he took a hit this year.
He tore up U14.
Dude, he did.
Oh, yeah.
We were nasty.
He took a hit this year. We all thought he was paralyzed.
Oh, yeah.
And then he played the next day.
Dude, it's unreal. Great bumper guy on the power play too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just shout out DVI. I really think if he came to Mount, he would be committed to Division I school right now.
Yeah, but it was really in our
I do.
first couple, maybe third year of Team Maryland where you like started to take off. You led the AY in points, you and Cam at least.
Yeah.
And
Where'd you factor in on that list? Were you number one defensive scorer?
I mean, not a big
Dude.
deal.
Yeah, he was.
I had
U13.
I had 20 goals one season for Team Maryland.
AY?
U13.
Even
U13.
when we lost the AYHL championship to the North Jersey Avs one year, I still got defenseman of the game /year.
Coming to an Acha team near you.
Not a big deal. But that that's too far in the past.
Was that in the
But-
finals for AY?
Yeah.
What was their score in that game?
I don't remember. We lost. I think we lost by one.
Dude, they were like 5th in the country that year. Yeah, they
Who was
were
on
gross.
that Avs team?
I mean, Ryan Schelling was like a man back then.
Yeah.
Luke Buchanan had like a beard and he was 13. We were all like, who is this man? I'm trying to think. Who
So they were,
else?
like, they were
Lucas
good.
Clem.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say.
Yeah, no, they were a good team growing up.
Shout out Avs fam. Shout out Brill. Shout out Avs fam.
Shout out Larry Robbins.
The Larry Robbins.
But no, you started to turn into like a superstar in the AYHL those years. And so what was your trajectory from there? I mean, I know you started to take it more seriously.
Yeah, well, I think it was the summer before my last year TM. I did like one of those World Selects in Spain with Ryan Brindley actually, and Steve Dubinsky, who were the two guys who ran Florida Lions. Steve Dubinsky played in the NHL for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Then Ryan played for the Florida Everblades and did a tournament with them. And me and his son Gavin, we were on the same line together. So that was like my first kind of taste of like playing not in Maryland in the summer.
And playing with pretty high.
Playing with like
High level players, yeah.
second round pick. Like we lost in the finals to like some Swedish team. And they were like nasty.
Yeah, you guys. I remember you told me about that.
Yeah,
guys had a really good team.
San Sebastian. It was a great time, and then did one more year at TM, and then that kind of led to getting to play up a year U16.
So when you left TM after 14 year, was it always going to be Florida? That you
So
were gonna
I was
go?
gonna play Team Maryland U16, not U15, and then they changed the rule where they made you weren't allowed to like play up a year. So just some things happened and I wasn't able to do that, and then Florida was like, it's a weekend model where basically I skated with the Little Caps that year, actually, with their U16 team, just practice with them. And Florida was just, you practice for 3 days every 2 months, and then just on a weekend, and then you just meet them everywhere. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to Boston or Chicago or New York, where it made sense for me, and I think we're third in the country that year. Like, I really think if we had nationals, like, we would have won the whole thing. Like, Avs were number one. I think we beat them 4 times. Like,
Yeah.
we were stacked.
And to go back, before you joined Florida, like we knew that the Florida Alliance had a really good program because we'd play them in Southeast regionals.
They were runner-up.
They always had one of the best teams in the country. They started to build a really good program. Kind of talk about how Dubinsky and Brindley brought that program up and turned it into
So
what it is.
Dubinsky went there for U14 because he's a Chicago guy. Him and Jackson Wilson did, just because him and Ryan Brindley were friends. And they were like this weekend model because Florida's so big. You have guys from everywhere in Florida where you can't practice just because.
Then they start recruiting from
They would all
so
play.
far.
They would all play
So
double
more
A,
kids
right?
outside
They would
of-
play on their local.
They play local.
teams,
So then they're
and
just like we're not practicing anyway. You might as well get like nasty kids. So we had a couple Pittsburgh guys join that team. Ty Voigt, who's he led the OHL in scoring this year.
Yeah.
He was supposed to play with us. I remember at training camp. He was like. It was the line was like me, Brindley, and Ty Voigt, and I was like, "What am I doing? What am I doing playing with these guys?" And I'd never seen Ty play, and he was just nasty. And then a day later, he signed in Sarnia, so we didn't get him on our team.
Worked out well for him.
Worked out well for him.
But what Florida did was interesting. Like they almost turned into like a Selects Academy, South Kent, but it was in Florida, and it wasn't really a program where the guys lived there. Like they kind of just recruited guys from everywhere, really good players, and built.
So
up
I
that
think
program.
why they did it is Daryl Belfry lives in Florida, and Brindley and Seamus Casey live right by him. So they were like, "Why would we do a team practice if we can just skate with this guy 3 times a week and just work on personal development?" I think they were thinking more about like the long-term goal of it, which is
And Daryl Belfry, for those of you who don't know, he is like the premier skills coach for like all the top NHL guys. Like I know Patrick Kane works with him a lot.
Yeah.
And he worked with the Chicago Steel for a few years. Like he's
legit.
I mean,
you
I'm
come out to your Florida when you guys did.
Yeah, so
practice,
we would do skills sometimes, or like I would go down for like a week sometimes, like before the practice. I'd just like miss school for the week. I'd go like Monday to Friday down there and then train with Brindley and Casey. And then I'd train with them for the week. Then we'd have practice that weekend. So they were skating with Daryl. They'd go to this place, Matterhorn Fit, which a guy, former NHLer Ryan Vesey runs it. It's like a gym. It's
shout out Ryan.
Yeah.
Runs a really good
sick
program
place,
down Matterhorn.
Sick place. But I think they were just like, we're not practicing anyway. We might as well get a nasty team. And no, that was kind of right when everyone in Michigan and Chicago was like really hammering down on the U15 thing. Where people have to play U15.
That was the whole like Tier 1 elite league, like the U15 division.
There were 03 I think was the last year in Michigan, and it was you get 1 03 per team playing U16.
Yeah.
It was
and
a
then
weird rule.
Chicago is the same thing, and we like especially in Maryland, like if you're playing AYHL U15, like there just wouldn't have been a point in doing that. Like it's different if you're going to like a Shattuck and playing U15, but getting to play like that year U16 was great, and sadly COVID canceled our season, but it was a big
Dude,
year.
even back then, even before, like when we were still with Team Maryland, Seamus Casey was unreal. Like he was probably one of the best players in the country at that time.
Great guy.
He still is.
Great
He's
guy.
gonna be top pairing defenseman for the World Junior team this year.
Yeah.
Him and Lane Hudson, so really good player.
Great guy.
He was on that Florida team too,
Yeah,
right?
he was.
That team is...
It was crazy. We were like, you'd get the puck in the D zone and you were just like, I'm not even looking. Like he's getting it out every time. He had some highlight reels that year too, and yeah, he was. I think we had him. He's a second rounder. Brindley was a second rounder. Dubinsky went as a true freshman to Duluth. Shockingly undrafted. Fowler's whatever, third or fourth rounder.
Third round, yeah.
Clint Levins was the, I don't even know how to describe him. Just he was my roommate in Sioux Falls, so here like beast. He's going to Providence next year. I'm trying to think who else we had.
Yeah,
I mean
that like
dude,
that's a lot.
That's
Like,
already enough.
And you didn't have that many kids on the team, right?
No,
It was
dude,
like
we had
bench.
9 and 6.
Yeah.
9,
That's
6,
crazy.
and
So
2.
I mean, so you got
at U16, which is
Yeah.
like not. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely got a lot of ice time. I think that was the year where you kind of, showed everybody that, you're a legit player in the country, and you definitely scored a bunch of goals that year. I think, did that kind of kickstart, the rest of your youth hockey path?
Yeah, I think that was like the first time I was able to like play on a bigger stage. Like, not that Maryland hockey isn't huge, but like Team Maryland is never like really competing for like titles. And like, I still remember our first tournament. It was like that. I forget what it was, but it was in Boston. It was like all the big teams, like Avs are there, Shattuck's there, and I was used to, like, my parents were saying we're used to booking like the first flight on a Sunday morning, and we had to like change our flights because we ended up winning the championship. And all the Florida guys were like, "No, we booked the last flight." Because they were just. I mean, they were that 04 team was runner up at Natty's the year before. Like they had been running tournaments. Like,
and they played up in 03 Natties
Yeah.
2 years before
Yeah.
that.
Always got to book the last flight if you're on a team like that.
Always book the
They
last
won like
flight.
2 years without losing a game.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Some sick players. Sick players.
All right, so after Florida, I don't know, like, what'd you do during the summer during that time? Like, what were you thinking next? Because I don't think you were gonna stay on that Florida team.
Well, it was COVID.
Yeah. Right.
So everything was shut down, and I was just looking like who's gonna play basically.
Yeah.
And the Rockets, Noel Rubin was
New
Jersey Rockets. He was just like
The Rock Show.
He was just like, we're gonna play 60 games, and not many teams did that. My mom was also sick at the time, so I, kind of needed something where I could do that kind of weekend model type thing again.
And you were still going to St. Albans.
Yeah, I was still going to St. Albans, so just to make it easier on my family, because she couldn't drive anywhere, and I was just getting my license at that point. And a couple of the other guys kind of from the area were on that Rockets team, so it worked out. Like Nick Van Tassel, shout out to him and his parents. I stayed a lot of nights at their house, and we had an awesome group of guys.
Yeah.
Ended up losing in Natties, lost to Colorado Thunderbirds, blew a 4-0 lead with 10 minutes left, and lost in overtime.
Is that really how it
in the semifinals? Yeah, it's tough.
That was a good. That was another really good year. You took another step up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had 45 goals at U16 that year, so
not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Yeah.
Not a big deal.
It was good. Yeah, it was great. It was a good right move for me and my family for sure. It was
good.
fun.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then senior year, Mount,
yeah, I don't know. So funny story, I'd been asked, so all my buddies from TM went to Mount U15 year, the year I went to Florida, and I really wanted to go.
It's the DMV pipeline,
Yeah,
Mount St. Charles.
I really wanted to go, and my parents, like, they're big education people. They're like, you're not leaving St. Albans ever. Like, ever. And I don't know how I convinced them, but senior year, I got to go to Mount. We were a sick team. Shout out Matt Plant, best coach I've ever had.
he's at Brown now, right?
He's at Brown now, yeah, Brown assistant. Really helped me develop my game.
Brown is a sick recruiting class.
Yeah.
Bringing some good
Shout out
players.
Matthew Brill.
Shout out Prill. Shout out St. Louis.
Yeah.
Some good guys.
I just think I'd never skated every day before.
Yeah.
Like, I was skating, once or twice a week, and then playing games. So you'd always get to the weekend and you're like, I haven't skated in 3 days, and you're always, starting off a little rusty. Your first couple games, you're just feeling it out. So I think getting to like skate every day and really like hockey's the main focus there. Like, no one's sugarcoating it. Like, you're not there to get a good education. You're there for hockey. You're there for hockey, and yeah, we had a sick team. We ended up winning national championship, which was pretty cool.
That was insane. And so what was it like just being able to live at the place that you play hockey at, go to school? Like, was it difficult, like, acclimating to
It was
boarding school? Or?
It was cool because there are like 80 guys in the program, 85 guys, because it's 4 different teams, and everyone has the same goal. Like, everyone wants to play in the NHL or play college hockey, which I'd never really been around before. Like, even growing up playing around here, like, you're playing 14U hockey, no one's like thinking about the NHL, especially from Maryland. So it was cool to, like, everyone was very, like, obviously some guys work harder than others, but everyone, like, has the same goal in mind, which was cool. And I mean, they have the facilities, like, they have a gym. They have
a facility.
They have a facility.
I mean, that rink is nothing to boast about.
But they have a rink. They have a rink.
Did you have
like,
full ice every day? Like
yeah,
your team?
hour and a half every day, Tuesday, Thursday, 6:30 a.m. skates. If you wanted it, like, it was open.
So they had that free ice where you could just work on skills.
Tuesday, Thursday.
And I'm sure everyone was
no.
there.
No. Shout out Zach Aben. He was our captain U18 year. Me and him, he was at almost every one. I think he was probably at a couple.
Will Wilbur go?
Oh, no.
Wilbur.
Will's taking the option on those. Come on. Loves his beauty sleep. And his Domino's pan pizza. This guy, door dashing 3 or 4 personal size Domino's pan pizzas a week.
Will Lawrence, man.
Will Lawrence.
But Mount was where you got to, like, reconnect with the guys who we played on Team Maryland and Montgomery with. Cam O'Neill, Jack Spicer, Ben Robertson, Pete Sterling, all those guys. Like, your chemistry with those guys was already there. So
yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like, getting to play on a line with Cam again was awesome. And Jack too. Like, he basically personally won us the national championship by himself. But it was cool. Like, we had a lot of Maryland guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Will, Cam, me, Spice, Pete. I'm trying to think who. Like, with that,
Who replaced David on your line? Yeah.
Jason Stefanik, who was actually on my team.
Pretty good.
On my team this year in Wenatchee too. Yeah.
he was good.
player.
He's a good addition to the puck to you guys, right?
Yeah, just very unselfish. Like, super. He's going to Dartmouth. Super smart player and super smart guy. We're just, like, so good at finding open space. I just think, like, me and Cam like to have the pucks on our sticks a lot, or have the puck on our stick a lot, and David was so good at that, just finding the open space and getting in the back door, stuff like that. And Jason was the same way.
And so you talked about Matt Plant and, like, the coaching staff there, like, how, like, professional did they take things, and compared to some of the other teams that you've been on?
Yeah, so I think Ryan, Brindley, and Dubinsky were, like, awesome coaches. Like, those guys both played pro hockey, so they kind of started me out on, like, what it takes to be a pro and, like, trying to do those things as a 15-year-old. And yeah, Mount is the everyday grind of that, where, like, Florida, you take stuff from these practice weekends from the games, and then you go home and you're still skating with little caps, where it's a little bit different. But Mount, like, it's every day. Like, you're doing one-on-ones for 20 minutes every single day at practice. Like, a lot of just grinding it out. And, like, they're the dog days in February where no one wants to go to the rink and it's freezing cold and it sucks. But the guys get through it together. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was awesome.
That's good.
Kind of walk us through that national championship.
Yeah,
we've heard stories, but
heard
from your perspective.
So we won the first game. We played, like, Beltire.
It was in St. Louis, right?
Yeah. No, it was in Rochester, Michigan.
Oh, it was in Michigan.
You guys played St. Louis, right?
In the finals.
Yeah.
So we beat Beltire, like, 8-4 or something. Like, we didn't play great. They just stank. And then we lost to Culver, who we beat them, like, 10-0 early in the year. We lost to them. And so, funny story, in the rooms, like, in the hotel, were by line. So me, Jason, and Cam, like, after that game, like, that night, we're like, we're going to throw this next game. Like, we just want to be done. We want to go home. After Culver, we're like, there's no way we're winning the national championship. Like, there's literally zero chance. And then we end up playing Dallas the next game, just going back and forth. And we're down 4-3. It's a crazy story. We're down.
I remember watching.
We're down 4-3 with
like we watched. Or no, I watched it at.
I think the two of us were watching.
Dude, we're down 4-3 with, like, a minute and a half left, and we have a guy in the box, and we're about to pull the goalie. So that I was taking the guy on the box, and Rhett Kodzi jumps out of the box, but I jumped on the ice before he was out of the box. So we ended up taking a too many men penalty with like a minute left. Luckily, I didn't have to serve it. I don't remember who served it, but I was like I just lost this freaking season. Like, it's over, and it's like I'm sitting on the bench like in tears, basically. Like, I literally lost this for us.
And this was the last game of the round robin.
Yeah, last game of the round robin. Whoever won this game moved on. And luckily, like, we pulled the goalie. I hopped out there and just floated around a little bit. And the puck came to me and ended up scoring. And then shout out Ryan O'Connell, shootout winner. The rest is history. We played BK the next. I mean, after that, like, everyone kind of knew, like, it's just.
And also, Spicer played unreal.
Yeah, Spicer's unreal.
That save that everyone's seen like 500 times.
Yeah.
Films.
I just think, like, after, like, you have a win like that, everyone's like, oh shit, like, it's just meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we got dominated by BK in the quarterfinal the next day. In the first 2 periods, I think we had like 5 shots, and we're just like, second intermission, we're chilling in the locker room, everyone's just like calm. It's like, we're gonna win it. Like, beat them 4-2. We ended up like waxing Shattuck 7-1 the next day.
That's crazy.
Which was like the Max
that was
Cole
nice.
Eiserman, Whitelaw.
That's
like,
probably the best line in
Ethan and I
UAT.
say this all the time. It's the best U18 line of all time, and maybe will.
Yeah.
ever
Who
be.
was it?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
Celebrini,
Eiserman and Whitelaw.
So 3rd round pick this year and the 1 and 2 overall pick.
Yeah,
this upcoming.
they were stacked.
Shout out Whitelaw, by the way, one of the OG power play pucks.
I like to say we ended their like youth hockey.
It's crazy to think about.
We ended their youth hockey. So,
But you guys absolutely dominated that, and they
Yeah.
were like the one team that you guys were
yeah,
having
so
trouble
we had
with.
played them earlier in the year, and they like at our rink, and they waxed us.
I mean, they probably lost like what,
it's like
3 or 4 games all year.
I think they lost 2 or 3 games the whole year.
And you probably had the game of your career that game.
Yeah.
What'd you have that game?
3-3 that game. Yeah. 7-1 win. It was it was a great game. I just all around, and then
I'm sure you got a couple calls after that.
yeah,
game.
once we beat them, everyone was like St. Louis, like, we're gonna destroy these guys. Like, no offense to them, but like once you beat, like, Shattuck was by far the best.
The greatest line ever. Like,
Yeah.
it's-
And then I think the next day was like 6-1, 7-1, or something like that, and it was a great time. Yeah, it was
So,
awesome.
I guess run us through after nationals, going to eventually go play Sioux Falls for staying there for a couple weeks. Run us through that
With Austin May.
Yeah, live with Austin. Shout out
Yeah.
the first Power Play podcast, Austin. So run us through. You're going right back down to campus in Mount, and then you get a call not too long.
So I didn't
after.
even go back.
You didn't even go back. Okay.
Sioux Falls was there, and
Just
like,
goes to show how rigorous the academic schedule
So
is.
It's no landed. No landed.
we won, and then I went to Sioux Falls. They weren't a great team that year. So I think they were like second to last place or something like that. So there were 2 weeks left in the season. I went right away for the last 2 weeks. I got to play the first weekend, and then the second weekend I was just there practicing. Shout out Jack Silich.
Yeah.
First USHL point on his goal in my second shift ever. Still searching for my second USHL point. Hopefully coming soon. But
Second shift, it just went downhill.
second shift, it's, I peaked too early. But yeah, living with Austin May was great. It was a good time, kind of. But yeah, it was a grind. But then kind of you take a couple weeks off after that, and I think it was right to spring break, so I had to come home. Didn't skate for a couple weeks, and then, I mean, they still had the ice and stuff in, so.
So why don't you tell us how it was like playing the end of your U18 season at nationals and going straight to Sioux Falls Stampede in the USHL, going from youth hockey all the way to junior hockey, and arguably one of the greatest leagues in the world.
Yeah.
Junior league. Greatest junior league. 2 days later. 2 days
Yeah,
after.
so I think I got there on like a Wednesday, and then I played that Friday, so it was pretty quick. Luckily, we were playing Tri-City, who, like, they had run through the league all year, like Mitch Miller, Jeremy Wilmer, Cole O'Hara, like, those guys
Brindley.
had a sick year, and none of them were in the lineup that night because they were gross, and had already clinched. So those guys, it was actually funny. You could hear them like heckling us. Like, they sat right behind our bench, and these guys are all like hammered, and they were just like heckling our team the whole time. So they had a bunch of call-ups playing too, which probably helped. But it's definitely faster.
Yeah.
And it's just different. Like you're playing like a 10,000 seat stadium. It's definitely different, but hockey's hockey. Like I feel like top level U18, like the top guys, like are guys who probably could have been playing in the USHL. Like Celebrini could have been in the league that year. Iserman could have been in the league. Whitelaw could have been in the league that year. Whitelaw probably should have been in the league that year. And it just whatever didn't happen for some reason for them. So like I feel like you're kind of a little bit used to the pace, but it's definitely a jump up. But hockey's hockey, so I think it wasn't a huge jump.
And it was funny because you guys played against Tri-City. You played against Cam that game, right?
Yeah, we played against Cam, and the next night I played against Ben because we played Waterloo. Yeah, so it was really cool. Cam got his first goal in the same game I got my first assist.
That's pretty cool.
After being line mates
His first
2 days
shift.
before.
His first
He
shift.
scored his first shift.
Yeah, it was like 6 minutes in the game, I want to say. Yeah, first shift he scored.
That's unreal.
That was wild.
So you played one. How many games was it? Just
I
one?
played 2.
You played 2
I was
games.
there for 4.
You played 2
I only
games.
played 2.
So how did you go into that off season getting ready for the next year?
Yeah, I was excited. The coaches kind of turned over in Sioux Falls, and they were gonna bring in Rob Rassi.
Yep.
So he was the Sioux Falls coach for 2 weeks. We did like a 40-man camp, and he was our coach. And then a week later, he got hired by Michigan. Which, I mean, obviously you can't turn down a Michigan assistant coaching job, like working with the best players in the world. So he never coached a game, and then they brought in Coach Rudd, who's going to be my coach this year, who had recruited me to Miami. So I knew him well, and I was just excited. Like I think I underestimated like how big of a jump it was going to be. Like, I think looking now, I was kind of delusional and like oh crap, like I can.
It's all good.
Whatever. Should I just keep going?
You know what? Let's just keep it.
All right.
Keep it going.
I was like, oh crap, like I'm gonna play second line, like I'm gonna get drafted, and I just think that was completely delusional. Like, yeah, so it just like, they were giving their vets like a little more time than I thought they were gonna. I thought I was gonna get my opportunity a little bit earlier, and it was like 10 games in, and it just didn't work out. But I think for both sides it was the right move. Like, they sent me to a great spot. And I feel like I performed pretty well where now I can go back and, be that guy I thought I was going to be last year. But, looking back on it, was definitely, a little bit out of my mind and my expectations.
Yeah.
What was your time like in Wenatchee? Like,
Yeah, talk about the BC a little bit.
Yeah, so it was great. I had 2 awesome roommates and a great billet family, which is like
It matters so much in junior.
matters so
underratedly
much,
like
yeah.
so important. Like I had a roommate, Luke Whelan. He's at Merrimack now, but he's an 02, so he was like a big brother to me. And then Michael Valdez, he's also an 04. He's a stud. But I just think like we had a really close group of guys, like, and some studs. Like I got there, they were in 8th place. And I think not a big deal, but after I got there, we were like the second best team in the league. We just got hot, and I had some really good line mates, and some good players on that team, like really good. We have Ian Samoza, who I think is going to play a lot in Western this year. Like, he's a really, really good player. Cade Littler, Flames draft pick. He'll be in Cedar Rapids this year. Parker Murray, Glenn Murray's son, 400 goals in the show. He's going to Penticton this year, but I think the guy had 12 goals in 5 playoff games at one point, like back-to-back 4-goal games. Which
wild.
was just like one of the craziest shots I've ever seen on that kid. Yeah, and just it was great. I love the BC. It was a good time.
did you play Penticton in the playoffs?
Yeah, so we got swept by them. We got to beat Cranbrook though. We beat Cranbrook in the first round. We were the 7, they were the 2. Beat them in 6 games. Awesome time after we won the series, and then Penticton
Talk about that. I mean, they had some like really high-end draft picks.
I mean, they lost what?
They lost 4 or 5 games
the
the whole
entire
season.
season.
Yeah, we actually gave them their first loss at home. It was like the dog days. Like, these guys are gassed, and then Suniev, their Russian, wasn't allowed. He's like not allowed in America or something like that. Or, like, he wasn't like, because the league rules were like you weren't allowed to have Euros this past year. So they like forged it and said he was from Penticton, but the guy like spoke no English. But he never played.
He got
Wenatchee.
drafted really high.
Yeah, he was a third rounder to
yeah.
Calgary. sick player. He had 5 goals against us in one game in the regular season.
That's sick.
But yeah, the Nadeau brothers, like,
Yeah.
That's a first rounder.
First
And
rounder,
his brother's no three.
and his brother is sick. Like, both of them sick players. I
Both
think.
going to Maine this year.
Well,
right?
I heard a podcast with their coach, like Maine's coach, and he was like, "I'm giving these guys the keys to the program. Like,
Yeah.
Ooh.
those guys will be the half-wall guys on their power play. Like, they are freaking studs."
So going back to the beginning of the year in Wenatchee, how did you choose Wenatchee after you played a handful of games at Sioux Falls?
So I was gonna go to Salmon Arm because Steve Dubinsky's son, Josh Dubinsky, is the assistant coach there, and they were looking for a left winger, and just I thought I would play a lot. But it's not fully my choice.
Right.
So because Sioux Falls didn't want to trade me, and so the GM in Sioux Falls, his son was on Wenatchee. Shout out Mario Gasparini, great guy. And like they were super close just because his son was there with the GM. So I got sent there, and it turned out to be like the best thing that's ever happened in my hockey career. I just think it was a perfect fit. Like, they needed a left winger too. They needed, I got to be on the power play. I was on the first line. It was just really worked out. And I think, like, I'm pretty big on like I like being like talkative in the locker room and stuff like that, and like joking around. I'm a pretty happy guy, and I think when you're not playing a lot, like, it's hard to be that guy. Like, I'm getting scratched in Sioux Falls, and it's just like it's hard to be yourself, and I think that's part of the reason I just wasn't playing great hockey.
Yeah, I mean that stuff happens to all the guys. You hear about it in the NHL too, like guys who are on a slump and stuff. Like, sure, they're great guys, they're happy-go-lucky guys, but like if they're in a slump, they're
Yeah,
It's hard
so
to
I
be
think
happy when you're not
I
scoring.
think I got to Wenatchee, and like it worked out great, and I really I thank the Sioux Falls GM to this day for sending me there, like, because I think it really worked out for both sides. Where now, like, as I said before, this year, like, I can hopefully be the same guy I was in Wenatchee in the USHL.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. Yeah.
And not to mention, we know that obviously the BC is a great skill league. The hotspot for a lot of skilled junior guys in Canada and the U.S. But it's also probably the most beautiful junior league out of all of them. You don't got middle of nowhere spots in the Null and in the USHL. Like, you're like in the mountains. Like,
Yeah, it was.
Talk about Wenatchee.
It was cool. So Wenatchee's actually the apple capital of the world. It's just like a bunch of apple orchards.
Shout out Wilbur, Apple.
Yeah, it's on like a beautiful river. About 2 hours east of Seattle. Yeah, it was awesome. It was cold. Like, there was a point where it snowed like every day for 2 months, which sucked.
Jesus.
But
that's crazy.
like, it was beautiful. And I
Spend any
think
time in Seattle.
we went.
Back was hurting.
We did one Sunday trip, just me and a couple of my buddies. Not sure if Coach knew about that. But it was fun. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a culture shock too. Like, there are a lot of different people in Washington, like different than you see here. It's a lot more like laid back. But it was great. I lived on a cow farm too, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just different, and it was good. It was good.
What's the best story you got from Wenatchee this year? Any funny moments?
Our end of the year party after we lost had some very funny moments, but I'm not going to talk about those. But yeah, just some great times. Like, obviously being on the road with the guys is just awesome. We had some huge wins. Like, when you win it's cool because they do 7-game playoff series out there, which is kind of different. So like you're really grinding it out for like 10 days. I mean, we went to 6 games where like it's a lot of travel. Cranbrook was
And playing the same team 6 times.
6 times is like you're so tired of watching that freaking pre-scout. But it was fun. Yeah, it was super fun. So I think probably that was the highlight, just winning that playoff series. Then, yeah, it was a great year.
That's good. That's fantastic.
And then there's been a lot of news circling Twitter about Wenatchee recently. Kind of talk
I
about
want to talk about that.
talk about what
yeah.
happened with Wenatchee.
So it was kind of messed up actually. So I had told them like I was gonna go to Sioux Falls, so I didn't go to their main camp, but they had a BC main camp. It's like a bunch of guys flew out there. I'm pretty sure they had the team picked, and then a week later, the owner sold the team. Like, good for like. Obviously, a dub team is gonna bring in like more money for him. So I get it. Like, they have first rounders on that team.
Well, so explain what happened.
Yeah, so they bought the Winnipeg Ice, and they're relocating to Wenatchee. So that's like Matt Savoy, Zach Benson, like some sick players on that team. And so they're just going to be in the dub. And then for the BC team, all the guys are just free agents.
So,
Yeah,
so the BC team's non-existent now.
It's non-existent.
And now the WHL team is now just
They are like using all of our facilities and stuff. Yeah, all the same billets.
That's kind of messed up for some of your old teammates though. Like they thought they had a good spot in Wenatchee for next year, and now some of them don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean most of the guys are either going to the Null or other BC teams picked them up. I think a lot of those teams were like pretty quick calling guys, just because like originally everyone thought it was gonna be like a dispersal draft, and then everyone just happened to be free agents. So I'd say it's probably half guys going to the Null versus.
I mean, Penticton probably got their first pick, and then the rest of the teams were able to.
So I was looking at Penticton, and then that kid I was saying earlier, Parker Murray. He's going there. He was gonna go to Green Bay, but just didn't work out for him there. But he's gonna put up some big numbers in Penticton. Yeah. And then there are a couple guys going to Salmon Arm, a couple guys going to Vernon, and then I think the rest are going to the Null. But yeah, it's a weird thing to happen.
Yeah, but either way, you had a great experience in the BC. You're excited for Sioux Falls.
Let's talk about the summer. What you've done this summer for the DMV hockey area, DMV 3.
Yeah,
that's what everyone wants to know about.
Yeah, DMV 3.
Take us all the way back to the beginning. Like, what inspired the idea? All that.
SoFlo, right?
Obviously, like everyone had seen SoFlo 3v3.
It's like one of the best follows on Instagram over the summer.
Yeah, great follow, and they have some sick players going out there.
Also, DMV3 is one of the better followers in the area.
So toss us a follow.
Good content. You got Mike up. We got Wilbur on Mike.
Wilbur, we got Brill.
Halliday tomorrow.
Halliday, maybe Annis tomorrow. Just trying to promote the guys in the area. Like you look at the line charts, we got some great guys. So it started in probably December. Kareem Alazam, shout out Kareem, shout out to Con College Camels.
I don't know if we've ever actually said that Ethan is actually going to play in the NESCAC next year for Con. Played a game in the DMV3s too. Yeah. Vasa was interviewing games.
Gotta get Jordan out there.
I know. We gotta get some DMV3 power play podcast.
Yeah, we gotta get
something like that.
It's kind of a big deal though. Goldman is the only college hockey player out of the 3 hosts here. So
that is true.
So Kareem Alzam, like this guy comes up with ridiculous business ideas, like. And
we've heard a few.
He's probably my best friend. He's like at least one of my best friends.
We had Kareem on one of the really early episodes too.
So he called me. He's like, "Have you seen this SoFlo thing?" He was like, "It's really cool." And like that's all he said. He
probably hung up the phone.
Yeah, no, he hung it up. Like I think his mom called him or something, but he didn't say like we should start this. So back on my mount team, Rhett Kodzi, his older brother Cole Kodzi started SoFlo.
Him and Cherramata.
And Cherramata, and then there's
State, right?
and then there's one other guy. It's 3 of them that run it. So I sent the guy an Insta DM. Like I'd met our last night at Mount, he went out with us actually. So like super good guy. He's playing at Union now. Shout out Cole Kodzi. But I sent him a DM. I was like, "Do you have time to hop on a call this week? Like I just want to pick your brain about this." And like wouldn't say we're friends, but like we're friendly. And that ended up with like, I talked to this guy every single day for 2 months. Like, just texting him, asking him questions like, how do you run it? How do you get ice? Like, how are guys paying? Are they paying?
Because you had to figure that all out yourself.
All myself. Are guys paying? Like, what do you do with rink-wise? Like, how much ice do you get? Jerseys, sponsors, stuff like that. Unfortunately, we don't have any sponsors yet.
Yeah, Power Play Puck soon.
Yeah,
they had like a vodka brand sponsor.
Okay, so the third guy, his older brother started this vodka brand called Vodkite.
Yeah.
And that's like their big sponsor. So basically, me and Cole like went back texting for probably a month or two. And then I was just like, screw it. Like I'm gonna do it. I think I wanted to use it. Like I just think guys like. There's so many good players in the area. Like you can see that if you like look at our stuff.
It was only a matter of time.
So many good players, and no one skates together.
Exactly. Like it was only a matter of time until
people skating
you have a group skating
at
you have a group skating at Rockville. You have guys at Piney, guys at Ashburn, guys at Reston, and then you have guys crossing over. And I was just like, there's so many good guys here. Everyone is looking to play 3-on-3. Someone just got to do it, and it was actually like a crap ton of work. Like it's still like
I believe it.
Like it's probably a lot of work. Like
seeing who's showing up every week, like shuffling teams around.
You don't show up like Dude, that's the worst thing ever.
I know.
It's actually the
I've
worst.
seen him behind the scenes. He has all of his spreadsheets out. He has all the
I can
guys
be a
who are
backup player.
coming.
If you ever need just a guy, just let me know.
Dude.
Well, he is his Ollie doing all the stats on the
Dude,
bench.
so it's wild now too, because I basically texted like 20 or 30 guys. I was like if I started this, like first off, what would you pay for it? Because like obviously I don't want to lose money on it, but like I'm not looking to make any money off of it. So it ends up like it's $30 a skate. Some guys paid up front, and then some guys just pay week to week. Most guys do that. We have 4 teams of 6 right now. You get just 2 cross ice games for an hour. You play 2 games in the hour. So it's 6 guys a team, and then 4 goalies. Try to keep the teams as consistent as you can, and then like we have a group chat of like whatever 16, 18 guys who are like my regulars, and then a bunch of like guys have been added on. Like Annis reached out to do it. Joe Snively did. We have Garrett Rowe coming tomorrow, who's like a 34-year-old guy who's playing in Hershey this year. Who I skate with at Cold Rush.
Alexiev played.
Alexiev played.
Caps.
Wild Alexiev story coming in a little bit. Actually, I'll tell that right now.
Yeah,
I'll tell it now. So.
Give
So-
a preface. Who?
Yeah, so first off, Joe Snively, he's on the Caps. He won the Calder Cup in Hershey this
Went
year.
to Landon.
Go
But
Bears.
Yeah,
not-
Landon guy.
Landon's the best showing at your DMV3s.
Dude, we have a lot of Landon guys, and they're all studs.
And you can't put them on the same team because they run.
Dude, I can. Like, they're so good.
Maybe.
So Joe texted me. It was his second. So he played week 4, and then last week was week 5. So he texted me and he was like, I skated with Alexiev today because they have like a Caps group. Like Carlson gets out there, and this is Dimitri Orlov. They have like 5 guys who are home. Alexiev is like would love to come out. So I was like,
You're like, yeah.
I was like of course, like. So I actually had to cancel on a kid, which is like also the worst thing ever when you have to be that guy. So I'm waiting there. Like we started. I tell everyone to get there at 5:30. Like get there pretty early because I gotta like check you in. You gotta pay stuff like that. Get you a jersey. And then we go on the ice at 6:10. But I usually go on at like 6 because I gotta set up the pads and stuff. This guy shows up at like 6:05. Decked out Louis Vuitton jumpsuit, Louis V sneakers, girlfriend carrying his hockey bag.
No way.
Girlfriend carrying his hockey bag. Walks in and I'm like, hey Alex, I'm Micah, I run the league. It's like, you do hockey?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're on Team Red today. Thanks for coming out. Like Joe's in the locker room. He's like, locker room this way? I was like, yeah, you just gotta pay first. He's like, no. Like,
No.
I'll pay after. So, yeah, I mean, that was basically all the interaction.
What are you gonna say to
So
me?
then, funny story. So we get in the locker room, and I'm sitting there, and then Halliday is next to me, and Annis and Alexiev are like they're chatting across. So, like, I'm a pretty social guy. I'm trying to like chat him up because I want him to come back. Obviously, like he's on the Caps. So I'm like, how long you in town for? And he's just like, no answer, like dead straight. And Steven's like, oh, I'm in town like for the rest of the summer. And I was like, Stevie, I was not talking to you. So just totally big dog me. Ended up, guy doesn't have Venmo, so Sam had to pick up his tab, which was great guy of Sam.
And another way to be a bear.
Yeah, Landon guy.
Bear,
But yeah, it's been great. I just think.
Sam gets his lifts in at the Landon gym.
Yeah,
Shout out
he
Coach
does.
K, so.
He does. He was telling me, he was asking me to come out with him the other day. I was like, I don't know.
Could come out
I
this
don't
week.
know if I'm allowed.
Miles came out with me one day.
Really?
But just
I'm there every morning.
Really?
10 to noon every morning.
Just total Russian move from Alexiev though. Decked out in Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Girlfriend carrying the bag.
I don't know if you guys have
Girlfriend
heard.
carrying the
There's
bag.
a story on Spit and Chicklets about like Evgeny Malkin just getting decked out, having an entire wardrobe of just like designer jumpsuits and outfits. Just absolute Russian move.
Yeah, but it's been awesome. Like I think guys really like it. Is the
People are hype every week.
so the first like
I love just interacting with social
like,
media.
guys
Dude,
try.
Bag skate.
dude like
It's
guys
so
go
tired.
hard.
Tell
Guys,
us your one game there. Your
Well, like,
experiences there.
so I hadn't skated a ton in the like 2 weeks leading up to it because I was at the draft,
Oh.
and then
That's an excuse.
I was at the draft, and then I was at the beach for the 4th. And so I get out there. I'm
Shout
like,
out Dewey Beach. It's a magical place. Most magical place in the world.
So Micah texts me and is like, hey, like we need like a last minute guy. So I come out and I'm thinking just like, oh, like 3-on-3.
Yeah, you're like, it's a fuck around skate.
It's like we do those like land-in, like
hey, those are pretty intense.
the land-in like 3v3 skates, and it was a bag. It was
dude.
tiring.
So it's two 25-minute games, and like guys get something out of it. Like guys go hard.
Our
like,
first game,
dude, we had like last week. Giles like almost dropped the mitts. No joke. Like he was pissed. Like at Zave Green. Like guys go hard. Guys care, and I think that's the best part. Like that's why guys like it.
Yeah.
Is because if everyone's fucking around, no one would do it. But I think like that's what makes.
It was an opportunity to get better
yeah,
too.
Yeah, like,
and also to bond with people from the area.
It's fun too. Like some of these guys never see each other, so it's cool. Like guys who used to play together way back in the day are like seeing each other once a week now, and I think. You have guys from Northern Maryland, guys from Southern Virginia who are all coming to Reston because it's just kind of the most central rink. But yeah, I'm super happy with how it's went. Tomorrow's our playoffs.
Yeah.
So big night for Team Blue. But yeah,
you guys lost yet?
Yeah, we had a tough week last week. But 0-2, but
only 2 losses.
13-point performance out of the game.
Oh, not a big deal.
So me and Matthew Brill. Big acquisition, but he's getting traded again tomorrow.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Does he know that yet?
Did. He does. Me and him combined for 14 goals in a 17-15 loss last week.
Matthew Brill gets goals and points no matter where he plays. He just racks up the scoreboard.
Also, if you haven't seen the Instagram, go check out Will Lawrence Sponge of the Week post if you want to see him diving face first in front of a puck in 3-on-3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Summer
in
a visor.
In a visor. It was wild, but I think guys love it. Like I have a questionnaire I'm gonna send out to some of the guys just see pick their brains on next year because I got some pretty big plans for what we're gonna do.
So can you talk about some of the potential plans for next year? You don't have to give up everything.
Okay, so potential. I didn't realize how many good players there are in the DMV.
Yeah.
I have a list of
You probably realize more as the summer's gone on. People are
first
reaching out and stuff.
You check my Insta DMs right now, and you're like, "Who is this guy?" Just all dudes. All dudes asking if they want to play DMV threes. But there are a lot of good players, and
might have to expand next year.
I have a spreadsheet of like just names, and I mean they're probably 60 capable. Very capable players from the area, basically D3 and all and above. Just guys who, if they're out there, you're like, this guy belongs.
So you got any name drops for potential guys next year?
I mean, not big names. We've had some pretty big names.
An NHL player playing.
Yeah.
I mean, tell the pod who recently DM'd, or is potentially.
So. The problem is. Tom Wilson was going to come out week 3. And then he ended up having to go back home to Toronto for a little bit. So I don't think he's going to make it out this year. But he's definitely been thought about or interested in it. And I think John Carlson too, but he doesn't really skate a whole lot.
He doesn't need to.
So there's the difference between a D1 guy and an NHL guy isn't as big as you think. Or
especially in a 3-on-3.
In a 3-on-3 small, we have AHL guys or Snively's out there and they're nasty, but we can keep up pretty well. So I think I didn't realize how many good players there are from around the area. So I think we might be expanding to 6 teams. I think I'm picking people's brains on moving to twice a week, do a Monday Wednesday type thing. Also, I just want to see if guys like playing at Reston.
Yeah.
Versus doing a small rink thing at Loudon, but I don't know if that would work.
I think Loudon might be a little too small.
I think Reston is a very central rink.
It's also good because you play 2 games at once.
Which is huge. And the big thing coming is DMV3's hockey camp.
Oh
wow!
So for anyone with a 10U to 14U child who wants to learn, hockey player who wants to learn from D1, AHL, and NHL players who have made it out of the DMV, stay tuned.
Let me guest coach in that.
Dude, the guest coaches for that are studs.
Yeah.
Like
It's
really.
no pigeons.
It's not like this.
Oh, okay.
No offense, this isn't like these aren't these. No offense to the null, but like this isn't null
Yeah.
guys. Like if you're guest coaching, like you're AHL NHL.
And maybe Daryl Belfry might pull up.
Can you imagine?
But no,
I think kids want to stay in Maryland too, which
Yeah.
is good. And like obviously, like Team Maryland just brought in Robbie Murden, who ran BK and who ran Windy City. So
Yeah.
hopefully, like this kind of just lets everyone realize how many good players have come
Yeah.
from the DMV and that they don't need
So
to
many good
leave
players.
and-
So many.
Yeah.
You can stay in Bethesda. and
There's
good
some
time.
like crazy good. Like the games we have are really good, and it's only
Yeah.
24 guys this year. But I think next year if we switch to like 36, I think the play won't even go down. Like I think there are that many good guys, and guys are starting to stay. Like I was talking to Patrick Giles about it the other day. Like he used to go away.
Another power play puck.
Yeah.
Past guest.
Power play puck, Landon alum.
Landon too. Boston College alum.
Yeah, BC
Oh, everything.
alum. He like this is his first summer back. He just had never trained here, and he was like, I just want like everyone wants to be home.
I talked to Merck about it because so Merck played in SoFlo
Yeah.
last summer, and I was kind of talking to him a little bit about it, and he might come next summer.
Yeah.
Just stay here and
Yeah, he should. He should.
DMV's becoming a hotbed.
It
It
is.
always has been, but trying to get people to stay now. But
If only Vasa gets scattered at an early age.
if,
Yeah,
only,
no.
if only. But
The
no,
20 goal
it-
season.
it-
The 20 goal
it,
season. Yeah.
it sounds like DMV3s is a real successful first season. Excited to see what's going to come from it. And hey, Power Play Puck, why not? First sponsor of DMV3s.
I would love
Let's
that.
go.
Team Power Play Puck is one of the 6 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 teams.
No, but just
Yo, I would love that.
just last thing. We didn't really talk much about your college hockey decisions and whatnot. Just take us through, what you started with and where you're going with now.
Yeah, so I was committed to Miami of Ohio. Just didn't work out. Like I think just wasn't the right spot for me. So I ended up decommitting from there. And then I'm open. Commitment is open now. Just gonna
Not sponsored.
yeah, I feel like I wasn't like very patient last time, so I'm just gonna kind of take my time. I think the Pittsburgh Showcase will be pretty big, just because every scout in the world is there.
The most heavily scouted event there
So I
is.
think that'll be big. Getting off to a good start this year will be big, and then hopefully find a good spot and see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Should be good though.
Good.
Awesome.
But all right. I mean, I think this is a good spot to end the pod. First episode in the books. Hope you guys enjoyed. Send it out.
New wave of power play puck. Stay tuned.
New Wave
Yeah.
Power Play Puck. We're really, amplifying, what we're trying to do here.
We didn't get these for no reason, right?
Yeah. Even when we're not doing in-person podcasts, which is going to be in a few weeks, we're going to do
Some dorm room.
some dorm room
Zoom
setups.
podcasts.
See who we can get on the pod. And I think it's going to be a really fun road from here. So thanks for listening.
Thank you,
Micah,
Micah, for
yeah.
joining
Yeah,
us.
coming
thanks
on.
for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Honored to be the first guest of this revamped Power Play Puck, and
New logo and everything. Yeah.
big things ahead for you guys.
Big things ahead.
Hopefully.
All right, guys. Stay tuned. See you later.